Did you want any tea before we get started?
No thanks. I guess you were wondering what I wanted to talk to you about.
So what's up? I hope that you've decided to be nominated as elder again?
No, that's not it. You see, I'm seriously thinking about changing churches, and I wanted to talk to you first.
Oh really? I am very sorry to hear that. I noticed that you have been pulling back in the past few years. I've been worried that your walk with the Lord was slipping. Did someone offend you?
Oh no. No one has offended me. I like everyone here very much. I feel that I'm not on the same page as this church anymore.
I've been concerned about your spiritual health, and it really saddens me that you have come to this conclusion.
Oh, that shouldn't sadden you. I mean, I'm not leaving mad.
I had the sense that you were drifting away from the Lord. That's the part that saddens me.
Let's don't make this a spiritual thing, like I'm turning my back on God. I'm simply switching churches.
I know from my years of experience as a pastor that when someone steps back from the church, that they are usually running away from accountability.
I was afraid this would happen. Are you not even interested why I want to leave?
Oh, it doesn't matter. I've heard all the excuses. You don't like the music. Who knows? Maybe you don't like my bow ties. But Greg, I always feel grief when someone doesn't love Christ's bride, the church, the way they should.
None of those things you've said are the reasons that I want to leave.
So what's your plans? Let me guess. You're going to watch Joel Osteen on TV.
No. I'm joining the First Presbyterian Church.
First Pres? Really? Are you serious? Do you know anything about the church? You know they have a woman pastor? Do you know much about the United Presbyterian denomination?
Yes. I know Pastor Kathy pretty well.
I'm just shocked that you see no problem with that. Did you know that some churches within the denomination have ordained homosexuals?
First Presbyterian hasn't. But they don't hate gays. They also welcome Democrats and those, like me, who believe that the earth is more than 6,000 years old.
You don't have to believe that the earth is just 6,000 years old to worship here. What gave you that idea?
Maybe it was when you showed that Ken Ham video series to us.
Ken Ham is a good man and is doing God's work.
But he suggested that someone couldn't be a good Christian if they believe in an old earth.
So something I did really did offend you.
I wasn't offended, but it made me feel awkward. When I confessed that I believe in an old universe, Jerry said that I didn't believe the Bible. Then he added that anyone who doesn't believe in the Bible couldn't be a real Christian.
Jerry is a wonderful man and loves the Lord. I was even thinking of asking him to disciple you. That is until all of this hostility came up.
And I don't think he is a good man. Okay. What the hell does this mean? Jerry said that I couldn't be a real Christian, and then you say he is a wonderful man. I'm really confused by the mixed messages.
I must ask you to refrain from swearing in my office. I've never heard you use such words before.
I'm sorry, but I find this so frustrating. So
what?
Do you agree with Jerry that I'm not even a Christian?
Jerry never said that, and you are just being defensive. Greg, Jerry has done a wonderful job disciplining Rob and Hank. Both of them are hard church workers now.
Don't you see how such statements by Jerry would make me feel uncomfortable?
There's that word again. Comfort. If comfort is what you really want, then maybe this isn't the right church for you. Christ-centered families, which love the Lord, like Jerry's, can also make you feel uncomfortable. He's raised 2 godly sons. If your daughter was a wise girl, she would still be dating Matthew. He is a fine athlete and a wonderful young man. He leads the fellowship of Christian athletes at the school.
And Jamie dumped him because he almost raped her on their second date.
I doubt that. Now, Greg, that's enough. I'm not sitting here and listening to your hateful words any longer. I see that you have your mind made up. I will continue to pray for you and that God will bring you back home to Him someday.
I don't know why you keep defining everything I say as being hateful or hostile. That's not how I mean it. I just made a factual statement. I did not come here with the intentions of bringing up either Matthew or his father, and now I regret it.
Apology accepted. I think you owe Matthew and his father one as well.
Pastor, I wasn't apologizing to you or anyone.
I don't think by jumping from church to church is going to give you the joy you are looking for. You need to be at a place where men of God can love you and hold you accountable and help you to become the man you used to be.
Pastor, I was a complete phony back in those days. On the inside I was dying. My business was struggling. My marriage was in a crisis. There is no accountability here because no one can talk about their real messy lives. All this talk of godliness, and who is godly, and who is not is a farce. I'm no better than Jerry nor my kids better than his.
Really? A farce? Our dear Lord didn't see godliness as a farce. He gave His own incarnate image for that of the mortal flesh so that in the cross we may lose ourselves. May He increase while I decrease.
Pastor, no disrespect, but you are speaking spiritual gobbledygook.
Maybe you have to have spiritual ears to hear spiritual words.
Okay. I've taken too much of your time and I know that Helen isn't feeling well. We have been praying for the two of you.
We do appreciate that. Helen's depression is no fault of her own. The doctors say she suffers a chemical imbalance that runs in her family. But I think there is spiritual dimension to this struggle. I think she is being demonic oppressed. But she is doing better.
Pastor, I may regret this, but since we have gotten so personal this afternoon, I think I should take a step further. You see, everyone in this church knows that, well, you are Helen's great oppressor, not some demon. I do understand that her depression has a chemical base, but the way you treat her can't help. You are extremely controlling, and we see you putting her down spiritually with every chance you get. But until now, no one in this church has had the balls to tell you the truth.
Oh really? Since you've been to the liberal church a few times, you know all the answers. Remember, I have a degree in marriage counseling. I've led many marriage enrichment seminars.
Pastor, I'm just trying to illustrate how broken we all are. I counted and there are 5 couples from this church who have left in the last 2 years. 2 of them are now divorced. John Manley married that young woman from work, and I've heard, from a reliable source, that he was sleeping with her at the same time he was the director of Sunday school here.
What is your point besides trying to discredit this church, which I've worked so hard to build up?
Pastor, I will even incriminate myself. You may not remember this, but 3 years ago I was suffering from some severe back pain.
Yes, Greg, I think I visited you in the hospital.
2 weeks before I had surgery, I had shared in the church's prayer time that God had completely healed me. I was lying. I was having a good day, but I knew the pain was still there, and I had had other good days. But I shared that fake miracle because I wanted attention and spiritual respect. Claiming miracles is very seductive in this church.
Okay, maybe you weren't the man I thought you were.
You don't know the half of it. About the same time, I got hooked on internet porn. Jason caught me. I didn't know what to do. I wish I could have talked to some men in the church, but I couldn't. I knew that Jerry would have torn me apart. I finally spoke to Tammy about it. She was deeply hurt, as you could imagine, and thought I was disgusting. I guess it is the shame that keeps me away from it.
That's deeply troubling, Greg.
Pastor, do you realize that not a single high schooler from the past 5 years is still attending church, that is except for your own kids? Many of them live in town, but they just don't go. I've spoken to them down at the store. The reason they don't go is that they see all this church stuff as a farce too.
But you must know that Jesus still loves you as I do. You have a wonderful wife, Tammy. She is an example of what a godly woman should look like. This must be very hard for her. You are taking her with you to First Pres?
I'm not sure yet. It's up to her. You know, Tammy isn't perfect either. For example, she had an inappropriate relationship with Jerry a few years ago.
Oh, come on. I've never have endured so much vile gossip as I have this afternoon. Now you are going to throw stones at your dear wife and my right-hand man.
You see, 4 years ago you put Tammy and Jerry in charge of Vacation Bible School. They spent many evenings together. After it was over, they continued a very active private email dialogue for over a year.
So you are going to suggest they had an affair? Give me a break. Are you not just trying to justify your own lewd behavior?
No, not an affair. But it was inappropriate. Jerry wrote Tammy telling her that she was his best friend and the only person who really understood him. She never told me about the emails. They were in a secret Hotmail account. She told Jerry many things she had never told me. He told her many things he had never told Kate. Who knows where it would have ended if Tammy had not left her Hotmail account open one night and I found it by mistake. That hurt. She was angry I found it and still feels it was none of my business.
Computers, oh, the trouble they bring. It is a sad commentary on our society. Oh, good heavens. Our time is up. I'm going to close in prayer.